Did you hear about the new Instagram algorithm changes or the new updates on Facebook? How about a brand new platform? If you're feeling overwhelmed by the ever changing world of social media, stick around because you are in the right place. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Shawon, and joining me today is a very special guest, and her name is Jaclyn Sargent. Jaclyn is a B2B digital marketer and social media specialist with over 15 years of experience. Her superpower is developing creative copy that inspires, connects, and drives action. She loves helping companies find their voice and share their stories in a way that engages and motivates the audience. Please help me welcome Jaclyn to the channel. So I am so excited to have Jaclyn here on the channel with us today. We're going to be diving all into social media, which is her zone of genius. I cannot wait for all of the value bombs that I know she is going to drop today. So Jaclyn, how about you start us off with how did you get into social media and what are you up to today with working with the clients that you're serving?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having me here today. I'm super excited. My journey into social. I actually spent my whole career in high tech marketing, basically. Classic T-shaped marketer. I did the agency side, I did the in-house side, and I found myself in consulting for sales and marketing and CRMs and helping businesses all across New England with those initiatives. I loved consulting. I loved working with different customers. And eventually I shifted to doing some of our marketing as well. And I was using social media, the social, but I was growing our social, right, in the goal of helping to increase our recruitment and, employees and also recruiting sales. And in the course of doing that, I realized that there's a lot of customers or companies that are doing social, I don't want to say wrong, but it's hard, right? I think sometimes companies feel like they have to be professional, and that can sometimes come across as boring. So I started helping some friends who had businesses with their social media presence and realized that there's a lot of room for growth and opportunity for companies all over to be better using social media. And so I started my own business, and here we are.
And when did you start, Jaclyn? I think that is a very important piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. Let's see. So I actually think that in March, I hit my official 1 year anniversary of my company. We did our brand photos a year ago in last April. So it's been a while. But before that, I was growing our own social media presence for a couple of years, and I was freelancing for 6 to 8 months. So it feels like I've been doing this for a while now.
Yes, I wanted to bring that up because I knew that we should be celebrating your like a little over 1 year anniversary here. So yeah.
Yeah, I had my 1 year reel pop up. So that was kind of fun.
I love that. So let's talk about the clients that you're working with now. So as a small business owner, we are juggling so many things, wearing different hats, and social media is one of those hats. If someone hasn't, delegated that task to someone else on their team. So let's talk about that entrepreneur who is managing social media by themselves. And as you know, algorithms are changing. There are constantly new platforms, new trends. How do we keep it all? Where should someone start? Let's talk about getting them back to the basics. Where should someone be starting today?
Yeah. My favorite answer is it depends.
Fair
Yeah, I do think that there's a lot that needs to be considered in terms of where is your audience hanging out,
enough.
because
Mhm.
that's very dependent upon the age of your clients, the ideal profile that you work with, the industry that you're in. So it's a little bit of a tough answer. But what I would say is if you have an idea of where people are hanging out, start there. Pick
That's
one channel and dominate that before you start going crazy and stretch yourself too thin and burn out with creating accounts and trying to maintain this insane posting cadence on multiple different networks. My favorite places to hang out are Instagram and LinkedIn. I don't have a TikTok. I got my handle, so I do have one, and I love to jump on there sometimes and see the trends and experience that culture. And I want to make sure that I'm informed so I can help my clients. But frankly, if they want to be on TikTok, I can make a great introduction for them. I, as a small business owner myself, I can't be in all the places, right? I have to rein in as well and figure out the cadence that works for me. And so, if you're wondering, oh crap, how do I build an audience? Where do I start? Take a deep breath. And pick one platform to start and figure out what works for you.
I think that was really good advice, especially with starting with that one platform and also doing that research so that you know exactly where your audience is hanging out. Would you also add, Jaclyn, how about considering what is your favorite platform? Would that be a part of your consideration as well in terms of where you decide to land?
To a certain extent, yes.
Mhm.
I mean, if you tell me you love TikTok, but your audience isn't on TikTok, I'm going to have a conversation with you about reality. No. But like I said, my two favorite places to hang out are Instagram and LinkedIn. And Instagram is my favorite. But most of the people that follow me, I think, from the research that I've done on LinkedIn are other social media managers, right?
Mhm.
Frankly, bluntly, I don't get a lot of business from Instagram, but it's important to me to be there for a couple of reasons. Number one, I love it. And I hope that the joy and the fun that I have on the platform comes through. And when
Mhm.
I tell people to go check me out there, they have a portfolio, a little mini sales page, if you will, that they can go see that shows my point of view, the way that I do things, my personality, and they can really understand if they want to work with me or not. Right. So I feel like that's really important as part of my strategy. I get a lot more business, if you will, from LinkedIn. And so they're both an important part of my strategy personally, but I had to take a little bit of time to figure out what worked best for me.
That's, oh my gosh. Okay. So I think that is so good to add in, like knowing what your strategy is and not looking at other businesses to see or to let that be your guide to say, I need to be on Instagram or I need to be on LinkedIn or
Yeah, but
Facebook.
you do
Yeah.
have to have some fun with it though, right? Because like you
Mhm.
asked me about your likes and interests, and I think that's important not just for the network that you're on, but the type of content that you're creating and putting out there. If you don't want to be on camera, that is going to be so painfully obvious, right? And in your content, in your results. And so maybe you need to look at a different format. Static images are back, baby. Carousel posts on Instagram are working really well. There's collabs. There's so many different features that you could be looking at. So I think just as important as what networks you like to be on, you also have to think about what you like to do.
That's very, oh gosh. Okay. Another good thing as you are considering. So good. I love that. Let's talk about now content creation because I've made a decision. I've done the research. I know who my audience is. I know where they're hanging out. I'm on the platform. Now let's talk about how do I start creating content? Give us
Yeah.
some of your advice in this area.
Well, I personally think, starting small, kind of a crawl, walk, run is going to be much more sustainable in the long run than if you decide you're going to do 3 reels a week, 2 carousels, go live, start posting stories, right? So I think first understand what you like to do and then understand what you're good at. So if you maybe have a knack for making things look good, if you will, then carousels, infographics, that type of content on Instagram and LinkedIn can work really well. Maybe you're creative and you don't mind jumping on camera and you could start to try out different reels formats. You don't have to do this crazy long reel. The nice thing is right now, as of we're in May 2023, there's a different fun style that's really working well on social, and it's this concept of B-roll footage. So just record yourself doing the normal things in your life, and then you can either have a lot of text on the screen that adds value or gives advice, or you can have a great hook and then an arrow and say read the caption. So There's a lot of formats right now that are easily accessible and great entry points to start creating content. And most importantly, remember that everything's a test. So if something flops, that's okay. That's a lesson learned. So then you can think, was it the hook? Was it the angle? Was it the format? Maybe I just need to try a different way to relay my messaging and just learn from it and play the long game.
I think, Jaclyn, you just like gave like some good news to a lot of people who were just not into doing the pointing, doing the dancing, the lip
Yeah.
syncing, to know that now Instagram is, I would say, rewarding us for using different formats of reels on the platform.
Yeah.
And speaking of trends, so we see trends come and go. What would be some advice to someone who is maybe wanting to utilize the newest trend? So let's go back to the dancing and the lip syncing. Let's talk about that. What would be some advice to give someone when they see these trends happening and they might be a little bit outside of their comfort zone, or might be outside of their brand as well? It may be off brand for them to start dancing and doing some of these things. So talk about that a bit, Jaclyn.
Yeah. I mean, I see the trends as a blessing and a curse. If you jump on a trend, you could ride that trend and get a reach, get some impressions, right? But I think a lot of people don't talk about the downside of that type of exposure if you don't have certain groundwork in place. So let's say you ride a trend and you get someone to come to your profile, then what? Does your profile have the right calls to action, the right information? What do I do? What offers do I have? How can I help you? And so I would just say, don't get too caught up on the trends, because there's a lot of things that work well on Instagram. And so you don't have to jump on every trend in order to find success. You can definitely work with the type of format and content that you're comfortable with and still get really good performance out of your Instagram.
Really good. And let's talk about content just a little bit more here in terms of like getting into a rhythm and having consistency. What would you consider some, or I don't want to say content pillars. I'm sure
Yeah,
we both heard that term, but let's go with that. What
sure.
would be some good content pillars to get in a good rhythm?
Yeah, I have to say, like, it's tough because I still struggle with consistency. This is what I do for a living, right? And yet sometimes I'm like the cobbler's kids with no shoes. So I spend so much time on my customers' content and in their social networks that then I look at mine and I'm like, whew, I'm depleted. So I totally understand the challenge. And, you got a day job to work on, right? And then at the end of the day, you got to point at text bubbles or create a carousel. So I don't know if you've heard of the concept of batching your days, batching your tasks for your workflow.
Absolutely. Yes.
I like to recommend something similar for social. So let's say you want to start with 3 days a week, which I think is a great goal. I sometimes even aim for twice a week, right? If I'm in a busy season, I'm happy if I get on twice a week and I'm still posting a story in the morning and just engaging with my network. So let's say you're going for 3 days a week. For one day, do like a battle story, right? A lesson learned,
Mm,
something from your background that you can share with your network. And then another day, you could do a case study or a testimonial. And then your third day, you could do a quick tip, a hack, or something light, and just approach it that way. So instead of, focusing on my content pillars, know, like, trust, all the things, just pick
mm.
a format. Quick tip Tuesday, right? And just do that and see if you can hit that 3 times a week and then see how that's performing. You might find something that doesn't do well, or you might find something that is just getting lots of likes, lots of engagement, lots of shares. You could double down on that. Then, if you're comfortable, you could think about adding a fourth day or something like that. But start small, because that's when you're going to start to get data and information and understand what works and what doesn't for you. And you won't burn out, hopefully, if you start small like that.
I love this. You're getting us back to the basics here, Jaclyn.
I think we've gone too far away from that. So I really encourage my clients to just start there.
Absolutely. And you mentioned data. Having that data is important.
Mm.
And let's talk about getting beyond looking at how many likes I'm getting or looking at how many new followers I'm getting. What are the real metrics that a business owner should keep their eyes on to measure their growth on social?
Yeah, sure. So for Instagram right now, in terms of the current algorithm, saves are really big and shares are seeming to be more heavily weighted. And so, really informative carousels or infographics with steps, tips, tricks, things like that are performing really well. The LinkedIn algorithm is really interesting right now. They had a really big shift, I think about 3 months ago at this point. And so there's a lot happening there. But I think the comments and the posts underneath are really important. So I always recommend ending your post with a question. We call it a call to engagement or a call to action, a CTA. And so ask something insightful, ask their opinion, and try and start that conversation down below, because that shows the network that people care about your content, and then they'll show it to more people. And then on LinkedIn, their networks, like if someone leaves a comment on your post, their network sees the comment and your post. And so that can help to increase your reach that way.
That's really, really good. And so LinkedIn is not my favorite place. So you may have to share with me some of the latest latest changes on LinkedIn because it's a part of my strategy. So
Yeah.
like you said with Instagram, so yeah, maybe I'll give myself some grace with that.
Definitely give yourself grace. And I try hard not to focus too much on, I mean, likes are important. People call them vanity metrics and they poo-poo that, but you want to see that your content is resonating with people, and a like and a view is actually kind of critical information there. But I try again to remind my clients, my friends, myself, I'm focusing on the larger body of work that my portfolio conveys. On LinkedIn, it's my, whole LinkedIn profile. On Instagram, it's the grid. And so what I'm really focusing on is the big picture. When someone comes and looks at Jaclyn, what do they see right away? Are they going to want to work with me? Are they going to be able to get those critical questions answered? It's almost like another mini website for you, right? And so I try not to get too hung up on the metrics, because I know that they're going to find me through networking, through podcasts, through email outreach, other things. And I just see it as another important tool in my arsenal.
Yes, I love that. Totally agree.
Mhm.
And I think I want to talk about, let's see, I have two more things on here I wrote down notes for. And real quickly, let's talk about protecting your time because we can very easily become, go from using social media for our businesses to being a consumer and just swiping. And before you know it, like an hour has passed away and you haven't done
I
anything
know.
besides consume. So let's talk about protecting your time.
I feel seen. Like you're watching me now. So I would say two things. Number one, you approach it with intention. So I'm going to go to a keyword that's important in my space, and I'm going to comment on 5 posts that use that keyword. So try and approach it with intention. I'm going to watch stories for 15 minutes and like and engage and comment if you can. I know that that's easier said than done, but I really try and be intentional. You could spend 30 to 40 minutes engaging daily, or you could spend hours. I get lost in LinkedIn because there's so much amazing, valuable content. Like my saves are out of control on the platform. I'm like, when am I going to go read all of this? So I often will have to stop and be like, whoa, okay, what's my goal here? What am I trying to do? And that's really hard. But if you can approach it with that intention and purpose, that can help.
That's very helpful. Be intentional. I'm going to write myself a post-it note and place it maybe near my phone to remember that, Jaclyn. How about we hold each other?
Saver.
You're my accountability partner.
Done.
And let's go into some mindset shifts because I think we can also get into this feeling on a wheel sometimes, or I've had clients say to me, I really don't enjoy social media. I don't like it. I don't want to do it. So let's talk about some mind shift changes that we can have around social, especially from the perspective of how it helps us to reach our, target audience. So let's talk about some of that mindset
Yeah.
shift that we can take.
So going back to, the intention and the purpose, I would ask them, why are you reaching out to me? Why are you prioritizing or asking about social right now? Because I do think there is an element of, I feel like I have to be here, right? And if that's the case, why? And then let's start there. So I do feel like it's important, people, when they're evaluating working with someone, especially in today's new work dynamic of fractional consultants, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, if someone's going to work with you, they want to vet you and they're going to check you out, right? And make sure that you're legit and engaged and all that stuff. So I would then say, how can we build out that bare minimum profile that shows that? And I would just remind them that they don't have to be on every network, post 6 days a week, have this elaborate strategy. We can cover the core, your values, your service offerings, a couple of fun and entertaining things that show off your personality, build that out for you, and figure out how that, if you don't like social media, find that happy medium for you. So I think that's important in terms of mindset, and just remembering that there is no right way, there is no one way to do social media. So I try and remind people that it's supposed to be a tool. I hope it's fun. I have fun with it. I like to do the green screen things on Instagram.
You're good at those.
Oh, thank you. You know what? I have so much fun at them. They don't even perform like super well. I gotta be honest. But I love doing them. So who cares, right? I like to do fun holiday ones and try and find companies that are doing different things for the holidays that are non-traditional and show off that, B2B can be fun and different. I think I got like 200 views, but I don't care because I wanted to have the case studies of companies that are doing things differently. And that's my personality, right? So that's how I have fun with it. And I embrace my own strategy. I have to walk the walk too, right?
So as we go into this, I guess, wrapping things up, would you share with us like one piece of advice you would give to a business owner when it comes to social media and staying in that basic space, like getting back to basics?
It's such a buzzword, but authenticity. If you are jumping on every trend, if you are doing lip syncs or dancing and your heart is not in it, that is going to fail. Your clients or your prospects, they're going to see right through it. So find a way to do social media in a way that works for you and conveys you, because at the end of the other screen is a person. People do business with people. So my biggest piece of advice is to find what works for you and go forth with that. Remember that. That's really important.
I love that. Thank you so much, Jaclyn. This has been so good. Oh my gosh. I knew it was going to be great. So let's head into our rapid round of questions here. Are you ready?
I am ready. And I have to laugh because I did a reel once of, it's like that moment when someone in a conference call asks you for a fun fact and your brain's like, think of something. So all I can think of is that moment.
All right. So maybe, I don't know. Let's start right there. Tell us a fun fact. Tell us a fun fact about the woman behind the brand.
Oh, no. Let's see. So I studied abroad in Australia, and that was amazing chance to probably go somewhere I'm never going to get to go again. But I did Brisbane and Sydney and the Great Barrier Reef and just lived it up.
Oh my gosh. That is so exciting. That is definitely a fun fact about you that I didn't know. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
All right. How about, best piece of advice you've been given, we'll say personally or professionally?
Ooh, that's a good one. I love the whole eat the frog mentality. So that big, bulky task that is just so intimidating to you, tackle that first. Again, like with you saying mindset and being able to scroll on social media, it's really classic advice, but it's very important. And it has saved me a couple times as well.
Love that. Love it. And how about a favorite hobby? It's getting warm in New England. I'm so excited. So what's a favorite hobby? I'm like thinking about outside, but you
Yes.
tell me what's your hobby?
I know. I've actually never been like a big outside person, which it's funny to say because we live in New England and we get such little time when it's actually beautiful out. But I have two young boys and they love to take hikes and be outside. And so my husband and I have made it our mission to find kid-friendly hikes that are in easy proximity to breweries. So we take the kids on a hike and then we take them and they're usually like pet friendly and have great outdoor spaces and they have good snacks for the kids. So we are mapping out all the best 1-2 combinations in the greater Boston area.
Love it. Love it. And how about, I don't know, thinking about summer, do you have a vacation coming up? Any spot you're hitting for this summer?
So
Anything that's coming up?
yeah, we're taking the kids to New York City for the first time. So they are so excited. And we're on the lookout for a 40th birthday. My husband and I both turned 40 this year. And so we want to take a big fun trip. It needs to be tropical and there needs to be a beverage in my hand. So I'm excited. You know, the planning is the most fun. We haven't booked it yet. I have all the options and I'm savoring that process right now.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting excited for you.
I know, it's been a
And oh
while.
my gosh, it's going to be so much fun. All right. So we made it through the rapid round of
Whew.
questions here. You did it. Like all the sweat off your brow. So before we wrap up for good, or at least for this episode, how about you share with us where we can find Jaclyn?
Yes. So as I mentioned, my favorite 2 locations are LinkedIn and Instagram. So my Instagram handle is Sergeant Digital. My website is sergeantdigital.com, which has links to Instagram or LinkedIn.
Love it. And I am going to leave Jaclyn's information down in the description below. If you enjoyed this video today, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, leave some love down in the comment section for Jaclyn to let her know what resonated with you most today. And I want to say thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Jaclyn, for coming on today and sharing your brilliance with us. And I am going to sign off and say again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Thank you.